To give you a simple example which highlights both ends of the same truth, the importance of self-belief and also the importance and the need of belief in others. In the late 1800s, George Mallory, the famous British mountaineer, who had attempted to climb Everest twice, and unfortunately he passed away during his last attempt. He was a teacher, a well-educated man, but who loved the mountains. There is a small story which has been dramatized, but the story gives you a very meaningful thought. When he was a young kid, and when his class was taken to a small hillock for climbing in Scotland, the teacher rounded up all the boys and girls, and the teacher said, "Look, now we are starting the first skill of mountaineering." By that time, George Mallory, as a young boy, had already fallen in love with climbing and mountains. So when the teacher told everybody that tomorrow, make sure you travel light because we are climbing the small hillock, all the kids agreed and they were all nodding. Then he said, "Please make sure everybody bring their whistles." And the kids asked, "What are the whistles for?" He said, "This is a mountainous trek, and as we go along, if somebody gets lost or if somebody loses his trail, then they have to blow the whistle, and we would know and identify that person, that boy, that he's there, so we can rescue him." So everybody has to bring their whistle, rule number 2. And the last thing the teacher said, and I want to tell everybody, do not bring anything that you do not need. Mark those words. Do not bring anything that you do not need. So all the boys and all the students, they separated, and next early morning, at the foothill of the hillock, small mountain, everybody got together and the teacher started calling out each boy and girl's names. And as the teacher gave the name, the student had to blow the whistle to make sure that they are present and also that they have their whistle. Every name came one after another and every kid blew their whistles. But when the name of George Mallory was spoken out, there was no whistle. Again the teacher said, "George Mallory," no whistle. Third time the teacher said, "George Mallory," and he looked. George Mallory was there, but he didn't have a whistle. So the teacher said, "George, where's your whistle?" He said, "Look, I didn't bring it." He said, "Did I not tell you that bring the whistle because you might get lost, something might happen, you'll need the whistle?" He said, "Sir, but you also told us that do not bring anything that you don't need." He said, "That means you don't need a whistle?" He says, "Yes, I don't need a whistle." He said, "Why? What if you get lost?" He said, "Mountains are my friends. I will not get lost." "What if you get hurt?" "I love the mountains and mountains love me. They will never hurt me." Listening to this retort from George Mallory, the teacher got upset and he said, "Look, go back to our accommodation, go and fetch your whistle and we'll wait for you. But run and bring back the whistle straight away." The little George Mallory, he ran to his place and he got hold of the whistle. By the time he came back, as a form of punishment, the teacher had taken the entire class onto the journey towards the mountain top. Mallory all alone, and deliberately the teacher, as a form of punishment, left him behind for his disobedience. But suddenly Mallory looked and he saw a mountain goat. The mountain goat doesn't take the path that humans take. It jumps from rock to rock, ledge to ledge. And as he looked fascinated by the mountain goat, and he picked that path. He took that path from ledge to ledge, rock to rock, and clambered and climbed up the rock face as well. As George Mallory went up, he could hear an entire train of whistles coming up slowly, slowly. He had already crossed them, and as he reached the top, none of the members of the class had arrived. After almost 10-15 minutes, the teacher arrived with the entire class, following him, whistle after whistle. Looking at George Mallory, whom he had left behind, and wondering how he got up there, he asked George, "When did you overtake us?" That's when Mallory calmly replied, "Sir, I never overtook you. I just found my own path." In life, most of the time, we are struggling to overtake people, compete with people. But when you have self-belief and when you have self-will, we tend to find our own path. So this is an example of George Mallory at his early age, when he loved mountains and he could climb small hills and hillocks on his own, needing nobody, no guidance and no support. But during his expeditions for Everest, it wasn't an alone or a lonely way. Because when we have to do something which we can manage, you alone are okay. But when we have to attempt something that's impossible or beyond ourselves, you need a team. We need to believe in others. Mallory himself had said many times that attempting Everest was no game of a single lonely person. For that, we needed a team. In his final attempt for Mount Everest, there was a team of 60 porters and almost 12 to 13 mountaineers and people, members of support staff, 70 to 75. And still at the end of the day, only one or two could make the attempt of the final summit. So yes, self-will and self-belief can help you to do certain things on your own. But when we have to relate to society and larger things and more important things, we need to believe in others.